Welcome to Scoop World Order bye-week edition. It feels really good still. Notre Dame, the win. What a game. What a fantastic win for Ryan Day and the program, for the players. Don't think there could be any better timing for a bye week. Really excited for these kids to get a little bit of rest, get some rest today. Probably didn't get home till 3 or 4 at night. So I'm really excited to this. We're going to break down some tape, some more reaction, but just so thrilled for the program, thrilled for the kids, thrilled for Ryan Day to shut up Blue Holes. So it was really cool seeing their reaction and their joy, and frankly, all of our joy. So appreciate all of you guys tuning in as always. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, and also please click that little bell. It'll give you an alert when we go live. Again, we love doing these live shows. We appreciate all your questions. Super chats get automatically answered. So if you have a question for us, please let us know. And also, if you guys aren't members of BuckeyeScoop.com, it is time to join because we're about to go on a fantastic run through this season. Feeling like a team of destiny a little bit. You know, you go get that bush push type of game. I mean, this team's flying high, and I'm really excited to see what else it can do. Gonna bring in my good friend, Nevadabuck. Nevada, how are you today?
I'm doing great, man. I've been doing shots since last night, so I'm trying to catch up on the on the podcasting thing to your early celebration from last evening, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Man, I was just so happy for everybody involved, like the program. Honestly, I'll just be real. I was happy for us, because we've been on message boards. That's a 1-foot game. We lose that game, the whole mentality of Ohio and Columbus is completely different. The message boards get toxic, but man, we winning it, amazing. So very, very happy and thrilled about that. Nevada, now that we've had some time to digest it, 20 hours out or so, what are your big takeaways? I mean, I'm sure you rewatched the game. I rewatched the game. Again, I think that the defense was just absolutely fantastic. Virtuoso performance by Jim Knowles. But then the offense coming down the field, ice in his veins from Kyle McCord. Just a fantastic effort. But how are you feeling a day after this game?
Well, it's funny because I watched the game a couple of times. Spent some time this morning watching it, and the one thing, I mean, look, the defense held Notre Dame. He was coming in averaging 46 points a game, number 4 in the country in scoring, and held them to 14 points, and that's never not going to be terrific performance. But when you look at where the tackles were coming from Lathan Ransom and Josh Proctor. And when your safeties are making the tackles, then to me it's a warning sign. It's a warning sign. It's a warning light that's flashing yellow that I think that we're going to have to address. And look, nobody has been a more stalwart defender of the entire defensive line in general and the defensive ends in particular than I and F. Steele and Tommy. But frankly, those guys weren't great. I mean, I thought Tyleek was the best of all those guys, but Mike, JT. I mean, Jack and JT, I believe they played every single snap, which I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No.
No. I'm like never, ever, ever. No. And they didn't do much, you forget the sacks. I know the sacks are an easy one to look at, but man, I was looking for pressures. I was looking for, tackles. I was looking for, stout run defense, and we just weren't there. So, the good, I guess it's one way to look at it. Good news or bad news, The good news is we gave up 14 points. The bad news is I don't think those guys played very well. But then the good news is, well, what happens if they do play well? How many points are we going to give up? So, I think that we've got, it depends on whether you're taking an optimistic view or a negative view. But I think a sober view is defensively, we're so much more sound than we were last year. We're really limiting the big plays, which really were the bugaboo of last year. But we've got some guys that we need to get more production out of. And would it help by bringing in Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson, some of the guys that have some juice, and bringing them in and giving them some reps and let those guys take some rest? Maybe that's the answer. I'm not sure what else you can do at this point because, like I said, you're not getting the kind of production you want out of that. Although the unit is playing really, really well and doing a lot of really good things. So that's that. Offensively, our offensive line, overall is a win from my standpoint. It's just it's not there from a running standpoint, but it's exceptional from a pass protection standpoint. So and given the fact that we like to pass a little bit more than we like to run, it definitely gets a winning grade for me. But that's a work in progress as well. I thought play calling for Ryan, I just thought he really struggled last night, and that happens. Sometimes I know there was a lot of excitement. I know he was really amped up. And in my opinion, I think he was probably a little too amped up and probably too, you know, bound and determined to show our toughness or whatever it was that we were going to do. But at the end of the day, man, for love of 1 foot, for love of 1 yard, for love of 1 score, the whole narrative changes. And I'll take it, man, because we've been on the wrong side of this before too. We've been on one
Oh
for love of
God.
one kick last year. Everything would be
Oh.
different against Georgia, but look, I'll take it every time. And beating Notre Dame is never not going to be fun. And that environment was unbelievable. So
Oh.
people saying it wasn't going to be loud or it's not a very raucous. I mean that place was banging last night, and what a great win for the boys. And little thing, but I just have to say, just because I just thought this was fun. But watching Lincoln Keenholz and watching Devin Brown
Oh.
celebrate with Kyle McCord after the game, um, you can just tell those guys are good teammates, man. I love seeing that for the backup quarterbacks from guys that aren't getting a chance to play. You're not getting any of the Stanley Jackson after the 1997 Rose Bowl where he was stalking off the field all upset because Jermaine laid him on the last minute drive. And those guys were geeked, and was just so happy for everybody. Like I said, up and down the line from administration to the coaching staff to all the players and to Buckeye Nation. Just a great night all the way around.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, again, like what a difference 1 foot makes. I mean, here's my question. So Marcus Freeman, who's a teammate of mine, so I'm not going to totally come off the top rope on him, but man, 10 guys on the field for the last 2 plays, like when you need it the most and your team needs you the most. Like, I'm not even sure how I look at my team their D-line coach is Al Washington, our old buddy. And then you got Marcus over there, and then you got Al Golden as your DC. But usually the D line coaches running the substitutions. Like it was Larry Johnson is the guy that runs the substitutions for the D line at Ohio State. That's pretty typical, just because again it's like a hockey line change sometimes where there's 2 guys coming in and off, and you always got to 2 for 2, 1 for 1, 3 for 3, 4 for 4, whatever it is with the D line. But I mean, how can that happen? And Nevada, if Ryan Day somehow was in charge of the defense and he didn't have a D end on the play, we're going to break that play down, when there's 1 foot to go and they've got 3 down guys versus a goal line set for Ohio State. Like, what would the reaction be to Ryan Day if he did that?
Oh, it would not be pretty. And I mean, the scary thing is we still barely made it. You know what I'm saying? We still made it by the strength of Chip, stretching out, hanging it over there. I hate to shudder to think about what would happen if
Oh
they had
my God.
11 guys on the field, but they didn't, and we won. And winners smile and losers they deal the cards, and we're just smiling the whole time. So
Oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine? You imagine? If, yeah, we're gonna get into the film right now. If we don't, oh my God, that would have been. Whew. Yeah, and shout out where you guys are watching from. Appreciate it. We got Knoxville in the house, Portsmouth. Appreciate you guys as always. So we're gonna get right into the film. Again, this is right after Notre Dame scored to take the lead. So X is unbelievable. I mean, this kid, like, I love this kid. He's one of the greatest kids ever. The walk on, he's got the block O on. This is just a nice, but these are my favorite kind of plays because this is just a nice, easy throw. And he's a great athlete. It's this little square in. I mean, this is like catch the ball like you're in the parking lot at the, the Muni lot tailgating, little square in and open. And then just let and again, Julian Fleming does not get enough love, but this little nudge right here, I mean, it just opens up the seat. You wish you could split these safeties, but what a huge play by that kid. Talk a little bit about what X does. And 2 years in a row against Notre Dame, huge plays. Obviously, the touchdown last year. This year, the long completion. But talk a little about what X brings.
Well, he just has that knack for making those big plays, and we saw it in the game against Georgia. We saw it in Notre Dame the game last year, and obviously last night that was an enormous play. He's just one of those guys that just has a knack. I saw it as soon as they split him out there. I called it. I literally did. I said, "Oh, they're going to X." And sure, I didn't think he'd be that open, but he was, and he made the play. And those are the kind of plays. Those are winning plays. Those are the plays. The difference
Yep.
between winning and losing in the games. Because if Kyle, easy throw, guys wide open, easy to yank that throw and throw into the ground or behind him or whatever it is, or somebody drops one of those. When you see that happen, that's when you're like, that's the football gods telling us we're not going to win. But that was a great play by X, timely, and really, from my standpoint, I think couldn't have come at a better time for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, when they score to take the lead at home, it's a fever pitch in the stadium. I've seen it before, and when you complete that long, it's a long catch and run. I mean, it takes the air right out of the stadium immediately, and that's something that you need to do. This is an interesting play, and again, I think it's starting to catch up to us that we don't really have constraint. So our old friend Javonte Jean-Baptiste is right here off the edge. We do an orbit motion, and we run basically it's like a fullback belly, but we have nothing for the constrained player. We just have this is full zone, and you're hoping that the orbit will hold the constrained player, but it doesn't. Like again, he's been here. He knows Ryan doesn't like to pull it or do anything, so he literally stops us. Javonte does, and again, it's a good play by him, but. Again, when there's not constraint, and again, this is an attempt at constraint, but I don't know. What'd you think of this call, Nevada?
Well, I thought Trey made it. I thought Trey, if you see where he lands, look where the ball is. I thought he made the line, and I thought that should have been a review. I thought that should have been something that they took a look at. All night there was. We can talk about this one till we're in the face. Yeah. The Marvin Harrison catch where he got 1 foot down, and then they focused on where his hand hit after his foot hit, and the announcers spent 5 minutes talking about it. Then they brought in the rules analyst, and the rules analyst started talking about the hand, and I just felt like maybe there's some sort of rule that I just don't understand in college football, but I'm pretty sure if you get a foot down in college football, that's possession, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is there something I'm missing on that?
No. Again, I think the officiating this year has been an all-time low. I mean, we've had some games.
But Kirk, that was ruled a catch on the field. That went to review, and they reviewed it.
And we still got
determined that there was irrefutable video evidence of error on the field. And I think it was completely the wrong call, 100% the wrong call. How can that possibly happen? It should never. You can miss calls in the field. No, you can't. But you can never miss review. Review should be 100%. Not even 99.9. It should be 100%.
I totally agree. You get no argument from me. I totally agree. I think that it's one of those deals where, I've seen bad reviews. Again, when I'll never forget, we played in the Gator Bowl in 2011. And Boom Herron, his butt was on the ground, and he had the ball like this, and his butt's on the ground, and they rip it out, and they call it a fumble on the field. And I look at the TV, and I was like, oh, there's no way that's a fumble. His entire butt is on the ground, and he's sitting there with the ball, and the Gators ripped it out, and they called it a fumble, and then they reviewed it, and then they upheld it. And I literally left the booth because I didn't care, because I didn't know if I was going to be gone after that year if Urban was going to entertain me. And I go and I knock on the door of the replay booth, and I yelled, you guys are and I said some bad words that I'm not going to get demonetized on YouTube for saying, but I literally knocked on the door and they opened it, and I said, you guys are effing kids, because they were. And I was like, I can't believe you guys are actually doing that when he's clearly down. But again, whatever. I digress. But no, I agree. I don't know how you can get it wrong with modern technology, especially when NBC has the game. Because when NBC, when they do these big national telecasts, they've got so many cameras, so many views, it's crystal clear, 4K, it just can't happen. And I agree with you, but no, I thought it was a terrible call. I want to go back to this this little belly play to Trey. See, I get what they're trying to do with Luke Montgomery. And this is not an indictment of Luke Montgomery at all. It's more that I just don't love when we bunch all this up and make it this big cluster, because I think it's a lot cleaner. This is Luke over here as the extra tight end in the 98 jersey. I just like when you have another receiver out here and you keep it split, because you orbit it, then you start bringing everybody in here, and this box just gets real congested, And again, we don't, like Luke, and this is an indictment of Luke, but he doesn't, we don't really get anything extra out of having that guy in there other than, you've got 6 offensive linemen in the game and one's in an eligible number. But I digress to that. So we'll get to the next play here. Oh, the jet sweep. Well, this almost was a disaster. And then it was a disaster. What do you think of this call, Nevada?
I mean, look, you have to, given the rules now, as the rules are currently configured, and they're allowing you to push ball carriers in that situation,
Yeah,
you should run the quarterback sneak
yeah,
100% of the time. You have a
yeah,
roster of 85 scholarship players plus walk-ons. You are
yeah,
not. You're telling me that you can't find one guy and that can just practice that. You mean your designated quarterback sneaker that can go out there and he'll just practice taking snaps all day and to get two other big mooses behind him that push him. The
yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles do this right now with Jalen Hurts and convert 100% of the
Oh,
time.
it's
100% of the time.
it's so good that they want to outlaw it. I mean, that
They want to outlaw it.
formation, they would outlaw
Yeah.
it. It's so because it's so proficient. They can't. No one can stop it. I mean, everybody gets down in
Nobody.
4 point stances, and it's like
Yeah.
it's a buzzsaw.
Yeah. And so you see that. That's with the rules. And what do we do when we run fourth and a half a yard or 6 inches? We run a jet sweep.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I will never understand that. Nobody could ever possibly explain that away to me. About it's like snapping the ball back 3 yards in the shotgun when you're trying to get 6 inches forward or something like that.
Yeah,
Like I,
absolutely.
like I said, you've got 100 guys on your roster. Like somebody's like gonna go, man. I'm really trying to make my spot. I'm trying to find a thing. I'm not good enough to make the too deep. I really want to. I'll be the quarterback sneak guy because if you execute the quarterback sneak guy, it doesn't matter that the defense knows they can't get enough guys there and create enough mass to stop you from pushing from behind and pushing forward for 6 inches. So what would I have done? I would have run the quarterback sneak. So, and that's not a second guess. That's not a third guess. That's not a in thing. That was what I was saying before the play, during the play, and certainly after the play. Um, I think it's just an example of Ryan sometimes wants to be a little bit more clever than he needs to be, and sometimes just taking the simple play is the right way to do it. Um, and that's what I would have done, and I can't believe Ohio State doesn't do it because, like you said, the formation is so effective right now. They will outlaw it. I guarantee you,
Oh yeah,
within a year,
absolutely.
you will not be able to do it anymore because it's so effective. So it's
Yeah.
like what we're just going to be like, oh, let's not do that because we don't want to copy the Eagles or I mean, come on, yeah.
Football is the ultimate copycat league. Like there's nothing like it. I mean, when there's something working like that, I'm surprised more teams aren't doing it. But again, like Tom Brady is probably the greatest sneaker that ever lived, and he was doing it when he was like 46 years old or whatever it was his last year playing. So I can't believe we can't get caught in it. But again, this is again Carson. When you're in this situation, man, it is snap the ball and hang on to your nuts. And this is Carson. This is almost a disaster because again. You got this exchange here. You're going to Mecca come, you get him timed up full speed, snap it. And I mean, Carson gets pushed back and steps on Kyle's foot. So again, we got the exchange, which is great. But I mean, if we muff this exchange on 4th and inches because, our quarterback gets his foot stepped on and he trips, I've seen that happen. I mean, again, when you're the center here and this guy's close to offsides. I mean, it's snap the ball and hang on to your nuts. I mean, you say that to Nick Mangold, it didn't matter who it was. But I mean, the thing I don't like it to the short side of the field because I love the jet sweep. I think it's great. I love it with a Mecca. I think that's great. But I mean, give me more green grass. We go to the short side of the field. And I think G. Scott has played much better this year, but I don't want him at the point of attack on this in a wing. So he's already at a deficit where he's off the ball. And then, he's got to come sideways, and he gets dented back. And again, I'm not blaming G, but I mean, it's just not effective, and again, when you have this clustered up formation or you've got, you got a Mecca kind of wing tight end. I mean, you got this, like I said, I like spreading them out. I think it's easier. I think the box is cleaner. But again, it's easier for me to sit here and second guess it. But I like doing it to the wide side of the field as well.
Yeah. But Kirk, go back to the snap. Go back to where we are at the snap. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I coach Pee Wee football. Okay,
Yep.
Pee Wee football, not Ohio State level, not even high school level or junior high school, Pee Wee football. And out of that formation, go back to the formation just for a second, just to show us a little there. We have an automatic in a situation like this where the quarterback will throw it to the wide receiver at the top of the screen because you look how far the defensive back is off of him, and look how much you need. You need 6 inches, and Marvin can be running towards him as you're throwing it. So like, there's no way. You literally just stand and toss it to the wide receiver, and you make it 100% of the time. And McCord and Marvin have been playing together for years, since 8th grade. You would think that would be like an automatic. I mean, or am I crazy?
I yeah, I apologize. I was on mute as I was breaking that down. My JT part. Um, we did the JT deal here, and Nevada. Your thoughts on JT? I was shocked that these guys played the entire game because I don't think I've ever seen that out of an Ohio State group. Oh, lost Nevada. There it is. Hey, what's up, man? All right, so
You've been on mute for 5 minutes there, Barton.
I got it back. We're good. But no, I was breaking down this JT play. I'm gonna have to break it down again. You your thoughts on JT? I was shocked these guys played together. Like they both played every snap. I don't think I've ever seen that at Ohio State. Two ends play every snap. But your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, he came up with a couple of big plays there at the end. Obviously the big sack or tackle for loss, whatever you want to call it, and then the almost interception on the screen pass. But I thought those were bad plays by Notre Dame. Cost clock, and yeah, so it's just one of those things.
So we got the drive of the year, basically. 3rd and 10. Kyle dices it. Again, Emeka was fantastic last night. But we get down here, and this is curious. So you've got no defensive end, which is, when these guys are making $1 million a year to coach D line, like, I don't know how you can sub guys in and out and not have an extra person. But your thoughts on this one, Nevada?
Well, I mean, it's one of those interesting ones where it it worked. It seemed like without a defensive line there, it should have worked more. But in football, it doesn't matter whether you're just over the line a little bit. I think running in that situation was absolutely the right decision. was calling for it from all. I just, especially when they only have 10 guys on the field. But I
Oh my
think,
God.
yeah, you got to run the ball in that situation. If you can't get a yard in that situation, then you probably don't deserve to win. And we got it. Chip made a nice play because it wasn't particularly well blocked up, but it was blocked up well enough for him to get that yard. And that's all we needed. And uh, what a really just seeing the joy on everybody's face. And you said something at the beginning of the podcast that I thought was completely spot on, which is what a great time for a bye week. Initially when I saw the schedule and I saw this, wasn't crazy about the bye week being this early in the season, frankly. Um, but I'm telling you, when you see that kind of an outpouring of emotion from a team, and they're playing a night game, and as you pointed out many times, they probably didn't get home till whenever, so they probably lost Sunday, and you know get back to it on Monday, and try to get back up on that emotional horse. And if we had to play this Saturday, man, I could see letdown city. I mean, I could see that, and so I think the bye week's coming at exactly the right time for Ohio State. Get Marvin a chance to get healthy, but most importantly, let this team get a chance to kind of come off that high, refocus, clean up the things that we need to clean up on, and continue to get better. So I think the bye week timing could not have been better for Ohio State, and that's just another sign that I think this might be a team of destiny, because when stuff like that falls for you, you never know where the blessing is, but that was definitely a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, these kids, I mean, it's miserable after these. It's fun, it's jubilant, obviously, but it's miserable because when you get home at 4 a.m. and then you got to turn. And I'm looking at Notre Dame's schedule right now. And here's my question to you, Nevada. When we look back at this win, will this be one of those wins where like last year, like Notre Dame was like a top 10-ish team, and by the end of the year, then the next week they lose to Marshall, and by the end of the year they're just kind of whatever. Will this be a team that will end up being a good win, or will this be one where they'll say, oh well, they beat them when they were 9, but now they're trash because Ohio State beat them, and their schedule is absolutely, this is one of the hardest schedules I think I've seen. So they got to play Duke at Duke next. So they have this crazy emotional night game loss where these kids are probably feeling like trash right now. They have to go to Duke, who's actually really good this year. Then they have to play at Louisville, who's good. And then they have to play Southern Cal the next 3 weeks. And they've already played 5 games because they played a week 0 game. They don't have a bye week for another, God, till the 21st of October. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, but how do you think this will be looked at by the end of the season, or even in the middle of the year? I mean, even after they play Southern Cal, because I mean, Southern Cal could take it to these guys. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think Notre Dame's a good team, and I didn't think they were a good team last year. I saw them last year and thought, wow, the team's just not very good. But I think Notre Dame is who we thought that they would be. I think their offensive tackles are really good. I thought they ran the ball really well. Their offensive line played well. I thought Hartman played well. Hartman made some throws that I frankly didn't think he was capable of doing. Um, what would be scary would be if Hartman was a little bit more escapable, a little bit more mobile, because the way Ohio State was having to stop the run was we were having to commit everybody to it, including the safeties, and that's a little scary when you get down the road and you play against teams that even like Wisconsin that have a quarterback that he can run that zone read stuff. Penn State can do it. Michigan can certainly do it. So no, but I think Notre Dame's a good team. I think Notre Dame's a good team. I don't think they're gonna fall off the wagon like they did last year. I think at the end of the year we'll look back on this one and it'll still be a good win for Ohio State and still be a nice feather in their cap as we prepare for the playoff.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Duke, Louisville, Southern Cal, this is a real stretch for Marcus now. I mean, whoever did their schedule making didn't do him any favors going Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, because Mike Elko is a great defensive mind, and he's got those guys playing hard down there. I mean, they whooped they whooped Miami last year. Like you don't normally think of Duke as anything other than a cupcake, but they're not a cupcake anymore. They're a really good team. I'm gonna go back to this play real quick, just because I don't like like this alignment for the tight end. I don't know why he's not on the line. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like a semi wing, semi in line, but man, he needs to be in line, man, because like he's kind of, again, I don't know if he's supposed to be like that, but he's kind of like in a wing, and I'd put him on the line, man, because I mean, he's starting behind the 8 ball just from this alignment, because he's got to go get this guy, and I mean, he's got to go hard and to not give up penetration, and he can't get it done. He's going against his boy Javante, and it's like, I think you got to put these guys in spots, because Cade's up there mauling, and it's funny because we literally call the perfect play call for, when someone runs a defense that doesn't have a defensive end in the game, like right here. This is a perfect call because you're running right at where the DN's supposed to be at. So, yeah, like I said, not being overly critical, but man, it's like that. I mean, it almost would be better just to split them out, like put them over here and just because this is tough. But again, this is where if we ran true read option, I mean, there'd be nobody home. I mean, because nobody's respecting our Q run right here. But again, that's just me. I know everybody, you can't run the quarterbacks ever, but it's so hard to defend in that the short red area, man. It's crazy. Well, we've got a bye week. Nevada, what ideally would Ohio State get out of this bye week? Obviously, Marvin's health is the number one thing, but where do they need to improve as we hit the stretch to get ready for Maryland in a couple weeks?
Well, I just think, from a game planning standpoint, I mean, to your last point there, we have got to present the quarterback as a viable running threat on that zone read action near the goal line. We have to. We just have to. And Kyle can do it. Kyle's not unathletic. Kyle is not unwilling. Kyle can do it. He can run that stuff. And Ryan Day's got to dial that up because I see it every single week in college football. Running the quarterback, or at least presenting the threat of a running quarterback near the goal line, is overpowered. It's one of those things that it's almost unfair to do to a defense. And when you take it out of your arsenal, you're really limiting yourself. And people can say, "Oh, we're saving it. We're kind of keeping our back pocket for that right moment." No, we just don't use it. And Ryan has been reticent to use it, and I think it's a huge mistake. And I hope that he comes out of that and just use them a little bit. I mean, you'll see guys run all the time in the NFL now. Just routinely, they'll run them in the NFL. If they can run them in the NFL, you sure as heck can run them in college. And that's the thing. And again, to my earlier point, it's not that Kyle is unwilling, or it's not that Kyle is unable. He can do both of those things. Man, he ran that one in. He ran so fast into the end zone. They're following Chip on that touchdown thing. Like I said, if you'd given the ball, he'd have walked into the end zone. But I think that's one thing we can work on. Defensively, we gotta figure out, what's going on up front, because I'm truly mystified by the idea that we played the defensive ends the entire game. I mean, that I've just never seen that. I have never ever seen that. And it's not like our defensive ends were tearing it up. It's not like, oh my gosh, those guys were doing so well, I just couldn't think of pulling them out, or that the guys behind them have been so spectacularly unproductive that we couldn't play them. I mean, that's Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson. These guys have been playing well. They've been playing at a high level. You can't give them a snap? I don't understand that at all. I'd like to hear an explanation of it. I like to hear an explanation, but I have never. That is one of the more absolutely stunning statistics, and I think that Ohio State's got to kind of figure that out, because you're not going to make a living having your safeties make all your tackles. That's not going to work. That's not going to work down the road. That's not going to work there. But I'm not going to complain about 8.5 points a game. I thought Knowles did a absolutely fabulous job. It was so great to see a guy like that just shut up so many people that have been ragging on that guy, and he just cowboyed up. And when we needed it the most, they stopped him and got us the ball back. And that's what more do you want from your defense? Your defense is like, if you said before the game, hey, we're going to give up 14 points to Notre Dame, you okay with that? I think everybody in the planet would be like, yeah, I'll take that.
We're going to have 175 yards to Sam Hartman. He's only going to throw for 175 in modern college football with all the passing rules and everything. Like, you run to the bank and try to get as much money as you can to go lay the ranch on Ohio State money line is what I'm doing. The guy that leads the nation in rushing, Audric Estimine, he's only going to have 70 yards. If I said before the game, Sam Hartman's going to throw for 175, and then the guy that leads the nation in rushing is going to have 70 yards, you're just like, okay, sure, you're crazy. There's no way. But again, I thought the defense played exceptionally hard. Offensively, again, it's just win by a point. You go to those games, man, it's just win by a point. It's style points, whatever. Like when you're at a hostile place like that and you got a lot against you and it's kind of that big whatever. I mean, I'm telling you, like, you just want to win by a point. Like, I mean, it's like when we used to play Michigan up at Michigan, win by a point. It's the only objective. It's not style points. It's not, ooh, I hope it's pretty. It'll be nasty, grimy, gritty, whatever, but just win by a point. Nevada, what's this team ceiling as we go into the bye week? How are you feeling about this team? How high can these guys climb?
Look, I've said all year, I think this is a team that can win the national championship. And, I think that we needed to answer some questions. I think this team was going to go as far as Kyle McCord, frankly, took them. And in my opinion, I think Kyle McCord showed that he's got the stuff that you can win a national championship with the quarter. A lot worse quarterbacks than Kyle McCord have won national championships. I think for us, the question is going to be, can we firm up that defensive line? Can Steele and Tommy be better? Because they weren't great. They weren't great. And nobody is bigger Steele and Tommy fanboys than me.
I get it.
They got to be better, and we've got to be more stout against the run because that's an issue. That's something definitely to improve upon. Offensively, I'm telling you, on the offensive line, we could solve 90% of our run issues through scheme and less predictability. Yeah. Because I can call running plays at Ohio State to about 99%. I can call it to about 99%. I can sit there and watch by formation and go, we're running. And I can assume if I can do that, the defensive coordinators that are paid to watch this can do it as well. So I think if Ohio State could just get a little bit more, like when they deviate things just a little bit, when they pull guards and tackles and go the other side and run counter action, it works so spectacularly well because the teams don't know what to do because they're like, wow, I can't believe they did something different. So I think that, you can start doing some stuff by utilizing the quarterback as just present him as a small running threat. You can start using more counter action. You can start pulling guys. You can start spreading them out and running, out of the power spread. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to help out the offensive line. An offensive line that's not a great run blocking offensive line, but I think it's scheme. I'm telling you, it's scheme. And my final thought on the thing is, for all the Trey Henderson haters out there, you guys,
you were getting it.
No, but this is, man, I took so much abuse. Oh, your boy, Troy Henderson. Oh, he did just, I'm like, guys, he brings something different to the team that nobody else on the team possesses. And God bless Chip and Mayan and Evan and Dallin, but they can't do that. And he almost housed another one. And frankly, if in that last drive, if Kyle would have just flipped the pass out there instead of, beaning it as head from 5 feet away, Trey might have run that one down there too and made that last drive a little bit easier. So he's such a threat. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can block, he can do all those things, and he can take it to the house. He's a game breaker. Oh. And you guys all saw it last night because that was a huge play when we needed it the most. And Trey Henderson, guys, just let's get off the fire Knowles, fire Trey, all this stuff like that. They're just bad takes. Let's send all that stuff to the island of misfit takes and it never to be seen again. And let's just get on. Let's get on the Knowles Express. Let's get on the Ryan Day for National Championship Express, and let's go win the whole darn thing this year. There's no reason we can't do it. It's all there.
See that, and that's how I'm feeling. I mean, I think that these guys, gritty win. Again, Trey Henderson just fantastic last night. Again, guys that have jets are my favorite type running backs. I played with Beanie. Beanie was a 4-3 guy. When they break the line in that stadium, and when they run through the line, and you hear the stadium just get completely quiet, it's literally the greatest feeling in sports. Like when you're sitting there and you're watching, when I had Beanie's little 28 jersey getting further and further away and pulling away from little guys and DBs. That's what Trey was. I mean, those linemen that were in there when Trey broke that 60-yarder, I mean, it's the greatest feeling in the entire world. And nothing is more energizing for a road team than breaking a long run for a touchdown. I'm just telling you, it's like it just electrifies the entire team. And that's the gear that he has that those other guys don't have. Chip might have a fifth gear, but he doesn't have a sixth gear like Trey does. So, any other final thoughts? Got the bye week. Again, we're still working on BuckeyeScoop.com, but yeah, like I said, that was the Nevadabuck game last night because it was Jim Knowles, Trey Henderson, a big victory. Yeah. And there is still room on the Knowles Express, correct?
There's still room on the Knowles, but the Knowles Express is pulling away from the station quickly. So you better jump on pretty quick, man, because the train's coming down the track, and if you get in front of the train, man, it's just going to run you over. So
That's right.
get on the Knowles Express, and like I said, Kirk Barton, I want to just again commend you for starting the celebration in the second quarter yesterday. You called me and you're like, Nevada, we are going to win this game. I have no doubt we're going to win. I'm going to start doing victory shots and start doing it in the second quarter. And I'm like, man, Kirk, I love you, but I think this game's going to be close. You're like, no, we're winning. We're winning.
We're winning. Hey,
we're winning. So let's go.
Hey,
so
I'm saying, I mean, and we did. I was right. There you go.
You called
the shot.
I know. That was awesome.
Call a shot, take a shot. No pun intended.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You're the best. All right, let's get out of here. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you guys are the best. Had a great time yesterday. Awesome game. Awesome win for Ryan Day in the program. So happy for those guys. If you guys have not joined BuckeyeScoop.com, you guys need to join. Our board is on fire right now. A lot of momentum. Could this be a national championship year? I think it could be. So with that being said, if you could leave us a like on the way out the door, we appreciate you guys so much. Click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell, and you'll get our content every time we go live. So appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. Go Bucks.